babe, we need to talk. And immediately I feel like, oh my God, oh gee, what did I do wrong?
Hey everybody, we're back.
We're back. This is episode 5, Life in the Matrix. Today we're going to talk about conflict resolution. Everybody deals with conflict.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we're going to break this up into 3 sections. The first section, we'll talk about why do people have conflict. Mm-hmm. The second section will kind of normalize conflict. The third section, we'll talk about how to resolve the conflict.
For your takeaways, we'll give you 5 ways to resolve conflict compassionately or with compassion.
Why do we have conflict? We have conflict because, well, we're all different and we weren't socialized the same way. We didn't even grow up in the same place. Case in point, I love hot sauce. You
can take it or leave it.
Yeah, not so much. I remember early on, I used to think, wow, so what's wrong with you? You don't like hot sauce? But it's okay. Difference is okay. Another example might be, sometimes I have a tendency when we're hanging out and I'll just start randomly talking about cars or buildings. And are you really interested?
Most times I'm really not that interested.
And sometimes you're big on your stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Fashion, K-dramas, the swoon-worthy type.
Yeah, K-dramas.
Christmas movies.
I think I would rather be stabbed than to watch some of those shows.
So he doesn't watch them with me, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Mm-hmm. So we're different. This is the reason that conflict arises. And we don't have to make a big deal out of it. Sometimes that's your greatest opportunity for connection is those differences.
That's right.
Number 1, we're human. That's why we have conflict. We're different. All right. 2, let's normalize conflict. Okay. It is totally unrealistic to expect that you and your mate are going to have the same thoughts and be on the same page all the time.
That's right.
That doesn't mean something's wrong with your mate because you're on a different page. Right?
Right. Conflict isn't failure. It's really an opportunity for growth and maybe more intimate connection because you'll get to understand what the other one's perspective is, which may be different from yours.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely not failure.
Yeah. And we should try not to avoid conflict. And I can give you an example. Sometimes when my wife wants to have a conversation with me, sometimes you'll say something like, babe, we need to talk. And immediately I feel like, oh my God, oh gee, what did I do wrong? Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily the right spirit to have. Sometimes what I'll do is just kind of go along with it.
That's called appeasement.
Yes.
That's not good either.
That's not good either because essentially you're avoiding the conflict. Or sometimes even worse, I may respond or you may respond defensively.
Yes.
And again, we talked about that in episode 1, that's one of those 4 horsemen that you want to keep out of your communication.
Yes. So
we need to try to remove judgment. We need not be so biased in the way we hear things. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I think it was episode 2 that we talked about bias and distortions and that kind of thing.
Things that get in the way of effective communication.
Yeah. So remember, resolving conflict really is a great way, it's a great opportunity to build connection. Mm-hmm. And in any relationship, really, especially in a relationship man and wife. I mean, that's the way we connect. Another thing that we want to keep out of the way of, resolving conflict is pride. Sometimes we're too prideful. Sometimes we have this self-interest that normally just takes over, and it ultimately leads to fights and arguments, and we've got to really check our egos at the door. We have to constantly remind ourselves that pride really has no place in the relationship if we're trying to build like a safe zone.
That's right. And that's in any relationship, in your marital relationship, if you have a significant other, in your work relationships, that can be a problem. In the parent-child relationship as well. And sometimes just within your family, you got to think about what's going on with your pride, right? Is it your way or the highway? If that's your thinking, that's kind of stinking thinking. And you have to just come in with a spirit of humility and mutual respect, and maybe just with the mindset to resolve the conflict and reconnect.
It shouldn't be about winning the argument.
Right.
That really has no place. It should be more about resolving the conflict and building connection. Okay. So it's normal if you feel a sense of pride or you have this self-interest. That's normal. That will happen. But we've got to keep it at top of mind that we want to set those things aside and really be about the business of resolving the conflict. So that leads us to the third thing, and that is, how do we resolve the conflict?
Right.
I have a picture in my office. It's a little dog. I think it's a Jack Russell. And it has one ear up, and it has this little paw at its ear as if it is listening. And to resolve conflict, number one, we need to be about the business of listening to understand.
Right.
And not be so quick to try to speak or talk.
Right.
We really should be about listening to our partner.
Yes.
To try to understand their perspective.
That's right. It's called active listening, and it's actually a skill that you can learn. So if you're willing to make these changes, then you can make the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think an example is it's really all about being able to repeat or reframe what your mate just said. And ask your mate, did I get that right? Is that what you were talking about?
Request clarity.
Yeah, and that also builds for better communication. And it makes sure that you understand their perspective. And I think we talked about this in episode 1. Try not to point the finger and blame. Like, you left your stuff on the floor again. Or pointing the finger is rude, of course. Try to use I statements.
Right.
That softens the blow. And try to think about how you contributed to the conflict. Don't just rush in trying to win. You're not an attorney. You're a part of a loving relationship.
That's right.
So start with the I statements. You may say something like, I feel blah, blah, blah. Instead of attacking,
right.
Try not to attack.
I agree with you. We'd like to leave you with 5 compassionate ways to resolve conflict. Pause the reaction. Breathe before you respond. Regulation creates space for wisdom. If you're just a hothead and you're all fired up, you're not listening. Seek understanding, not victory. Connection is greater than being right. Speak from the I. Like Walter said, use I statements. Your feelings are your truth. Share them without blame. I feel unheard. Maybe I feel disappointed because we didn't go to the movies like we had planned last week. Assume positive intent. Let's use that movie example. For instance, we didn't go to the movies last week because our schedules got hijacked by something else, lives. And instead of assuming, oh, well, that was intentional or whatever, just assume it was a positive intent. Oh, that he or she didn't mean to, have to cancel plans, but plans had to get canceled for something else. Conflict most times is just unmet needs, not malice, not meanness, not, intentional harm. And then repair is more important than perfection. Growth happens in the repair. So reset, reconnect, and realign. Because really, the win-win outcome is connection.
I love that. You got to keep an air of appreciation in your relationship.
Yes.
You've got to be intentional with that. Because sometimes when you get caught up in your feelings, all you want to do is fight. All you want to do is get your point in and blah, blah, blah. And I love John and Julie Godman, and we talked about this in episode 1. You want to validate your mate 5 times as much as you invalidate.
Yes.
And again, there's nothing really, I don't know if there's anything unique about that number, but the emphasis is you should be about the business of validating your mate.
Yes.
Awesome. We just completed episode 5. And if you have questions, please put them in the comments. Please like and comment. And we'll be sure to try to get back to everyone that leaves us a comment. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. See you the next time.